In a lot of BJJ videos, we talk about all the common ways you can improve your jiu-jitsu. Eating right, doing extra conditioning, learning new submissions, the list goes on and on. But today, I want to talk about how there are things that you can do outside of the mats that can not only improve your jiu-jitsu, but give you an overall better life experience. And what I'm talking about today is traveling.
Jetting off abroad should soon become easier because much of Europe is set to be exempt from the government's travel quarantine.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Alec, and I'm getting ready to go on a pretty fun adventure. It's been over 2 years since I've done a trip like this. I'll try to document what's going on and keep you guys updated. Man, let's do it. Let's get on this trip. Let's get this trip on the road. Let's go. Specifically, traveling and doing jiu-jitsu together. Luckily, BJJ is a sport that you can find all around the world, and taking it seriously as a sport means that there are several opportunities for travel. And one of the coolest things about BJJ is that you can literally go anywhere in the world and there will be an open mat and training partners ready to roll with you. In my BJJ career, I've been to Sweden, I've been to Japan, the UK, Denmark.
All the way from the US?
It's my belief that traveling while training jiu-jitsu has a direct positive impact on your jiu-jitsu game. And hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll feel the itch to go on a trip of your own and train in a different state or even a different country. I think it's safe to say that most everyone has anxieties about traveling, especially out of the country they're comfortable in. You know, you can go and travel and do jiu-jitsu. I mean, I remember dreaming about being able to do this, and you know, now I'm at that stage where I can. I was not only nervous about traveling, but also the experience. So I would have training at other BJJ schools in other countries. I really didn't know what to expect. Do they have a different style of training? Would the training be harder? Would I be able to make friends easily? Would the academies expect me to teach because I was a higher belt from a big team? I also remember thinking that my jiu-jitsu wouldn't be as effective overseas for some weird reason. I guess, like my jiu-jitsu would only work in America for some reason. Despite my thoughts, I quickly found that all my anxieties that I felt about traveling across the world were short-lived. No matter where I traveled to, my jiu-jitsu skills were still intact, and the people were super friendly, just like my crew back home. I felt welcomed in any BJJ academy I traveled to. After my first few trips, I started to feel really excited about all the new things I would learn. Not only are you training with new partners, but you also open yourself up to new experiences.
Titus.
Yeah, so I'm doing a YouTube video. It's like how traveling can help your jiu-jitsu. So I've been shooting this whole, like 2 months. New techniques, new training methods, new challenges. Obviously, I think that traveling and having a worldwide knowledge of jiu-jitsu will only provide benefits to your life. So let's go over some of the pros of traveling and training. One of the most valuable things you'll learn from both traveling and training is being able to easily step out of your comfort zones. But we all know stepping out of your comfort zone is anything but easy. It's called a comfort zone for a reason. Jiu-jitsu is all about getting out of your comfort zone. Think back to when you first started training. It started out uncomfortable. You have to get physically close to someone that you've never met. You're being put in these terrible positions like mount and side mount, and it feels like you're being squeezed to death. But that's the tricky thing about comfort zones. It might have started out uncomfortable at first, but the longer you train and the more experience you gain, you start getting comfortable again. You get used to your training partners and their moves, and maybe stop trying new techniques altogether. They say a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. This is definitely true in jiu-jitsu. Your growth will naturally start to decline if you stay where you are comfortable. Similarly, traveling by default is the same way. You are literally removing yourself from where you are comfortable. We mentioned how traveling comes with natural stressors, but when you're traveling and training, there's hundreds of added stress factors that can and will throw you off. Like if you travel to a country in a different time zone, and it's 7 o'clock, it's super bright outside. You'll be forced to train earlier or later than you typically would at your home academy. Your diet might be completely different as well, depending on where you go. That was me during my trip.
Velvets.
looks so good.
What does the sign say? Hagen.
I didn't listen. It's not a pastry. Vegetable.
Let's not call this a BJJ trip. This is more like a pastry trip, huh?
Stick it in. Stir it around. Hit the bottom. Pull it out. Oh.
I'm like shooting a food vlog. It turned into that. It wasn't originally supposed to be that. Happy. Of course, there might also be a language barrier. Hello. He's like, I don't speak English.
Swedish cat.
Either way, all these changes that are happening can either throw you off and make it so that you're always trying to get back to a point where you feel comfortable again, or you just accept that things will be different, and instead of fighting to get back into your comfort zone, you're going to have to adapt. Regardless of where you go, a million things will happen that you won't expect. Just like how in real life, bad things can happen for no reason at all. They're blinking. Yep, it's blinking. Uh-oh.
Okay, send it to me.
Either way, no point in worrying about things out of your control. And it's funny, I actually created a term for this when I was lower belt coming up. I call it an alliance adventure. Alliance being the academy I trained under from white to black belt. So whenever something unforeseen or unexpected would happen on a trip, what's up, buddy? Oh, he's got a little something, a little rat or something. I would just say it's an alliance adventure. And that would remind me not to take anything that happened too harshly or too personally. Instead, enjoy the adventure and take the good with the bad, because even those bad times will enrich your overall experience and make for great stories. I was always adapting. There was times, for instance, I was teaching in Sweden and I was teaching kids that didn't speak any English, so I had to learn how to speak Swedish so I could communicate. Go for armbar. He takes his arm out, look, nah, and sting. Okay, arm goes across your body, grab your shin, and lock it. Okay. There's a lot more details, but you guys are little kids and I'm talking English, so it's not gonna make any sense. So now I'm gonna have, a little. Traveling and training puts you in a state where you're constantly trying to figure out the right combination to help you perform better on the mats. Also, a big change occurs when training at an academy with a completely different style than what you're used to. So now you might learn new techniques and training methods that you haven't been exposed to before, as well as training with new partners that can give you a different look at your jiu-jitsu and possibly expose gaps in your game. In my own experience, traveling makes me focus a lot more on how I use my time so that I can get the most out of my training. I know I might be jet lagged and completely out of my element, but how can I make the most out of the current circumstances to get the best results? I really think that traveling has helped my jiu-jitsu grow. It's easy to stay where you are, working the same techniques with the same partners. I know I got to a point where I would do the same things over the course of weeks, months, and even years. And if there's something that I've learned during my travels, it's that in order to grow, you have to continually push yourself by stepping out of your comfort zone. If you always lift the same weight and do the same amount of reps, you won't gain any strength. The same also applies to your jiu-jitsu. By default, constantly leaving your comfort zone and learning to adapt will build resilience. And resilience is fundamental in getting better at jiu-jitsu. Very similar to training BJJ, you will also face many tough situations where your mettle will be tested during your travels. Think about the times in jiu-jitsu when you were constantly tapping out, when you're stuck on bottom side control, with your partner trying to crush your face with their shoulder pressure, when your back's just gotten taken and the choke's just about to sink in, or that tight triangle you got caught in from close guard, and the countless other situations that will make you want to give up. But an important lesson that is taught in BJJ is that it's okay to tap out, but never give up in the end. I've often seen that the best BJJ practitioners were typically not the most gifted athletically, but the students that kept coming back. They would keep coming back after getting smashed in the academy. They would keep coming back after losing tournament after tournament. Their resilience, coupled with their will to improve in their jiu-jitsu, allowed them to continue training when many in their crew would have given up. Tapping out means that you got caught in a bad position at that moment, but it's not the end of the world, and that moment won't last forever. Wipe the sweat off your brow, pick yourself back up, tie your belt, and go at it again. Just like how each tap is a learning experience, those unavoidable hurdles that will pop up in your travels serve the same purpose. During your travels, you will experience many hardships, delayed flights, long travel times, getting lost, schedule changes, bad weather, etc., and other unforeseeable things that will pop up that might make you want to give up and go back home. However, what's really important is how you handle these hardships and if you're able to bounce back. What might seem like a hurdle at first could be the beginning to a new adventure, or taking a path less traveled, or even a lesson in patience. The more you're able to endure the challenges that arise in life, the more resilient you will become on and off the mats. Traveling and training helps you build new relationships and strengthen old relationships. Jiu-Jitsu really is more than a martial art, more than about fighting and competing. While those are all important parts of it, I think at its core, it's all about building relationships. We all know that once you start training, your school becomes like your family.
For me, this trip was also very special because I got to meet my cousin Robert, Big Rob.
Sup, cuz? Sup, blood?
You know, I never met before. I knew of him through my grandmother, like we're related through my grandfather. After he learned that I did jiu-jitsu, he like reached out to me online, and then we just kind of communicated through Facebook Messenger. Jiu-jitsu is so different than, you know, normal sports like football and soccer and baseball. So my family didn't really, they still don't really understand what jiu-jitsu is. You know, they're like, oh, cool, you know, that karate stuff. But to have, you know, a family member that trains and I can train with and talk about jiu-jitsu with, I feel like I was missing out.
Make sure you get the cookout, bro. Make sure you put the cookout in the video.
It opens a huge network of friends, guides, and connections that your average person isn't wise to. These relationships are a lot of what keeps people coming back to training day after day. Traveling and training helps you build relationships with people you might never come in contact with through your regular lives. People that live on the other side of the world and speak a completely different language than yourself, and have different religions and cultural practices. We talked about how you can get stuck in your comfort zone if you keep training with the same people over and over again. If you never leave your home gym, what are you going to do when you come across someone from a different gym that has a totally different game than you? Even schools in other towns or states from you can have moves that your home gym never practices. So imagine what techniques and styles there are in different countries all around the world. Building relationships with training partners so different from me has helped me level up by exposing me to some of the best techniques and best training methods possible, which is rarely found all in the same place. You know, there's some schools like AOJ, Autos. There's only a small number of schools where they have all these high-level guys like Dream Art, Checkmat. Over the course of my travels, training with guys like John Thomas, Lucas Lepre, Cobrinha, Leo Noguera has helped me just really improve my jiu-jitsu by making me learn different techniques and putting me in different situations that I can't always get at my home gym. I've met many of my best friends through my travels.
Uncle Dave, what's up? It's good. Great to see you, man.
Christian.
And over the years, many of my instructors and best training partners have moved on to different states and countries. So a lot of the places I travel to are just so I can reconnect with them. The more places you visit, the more connections you can build, and you know there will always be people welcoming you back to their gym. I definitely encourage everyone to put traveling as one of the ways you can better your jiu-jitsu. I know traveling isn't the cheapest strategy, but there's always options.
Road trip. Going out of state. Out of state.
Even traveling out of your state or even visiting another academy in your town is a quicker and more cost-friendly way to get out of your comfort zone.
What's up, guys? Camera's a little off. There we go. So just made it back from my trip, my little tour of Europe and the northeastern USA. If you guys enjoyed this video, please check out the next one right here.
How does it feel being in Herrljunga?
Feels good, man. Through the summer.
Flamingo.
Gotta enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.